Hello. In this paper, shall be looking at the proposed memorandum, or rather the revision of EMS paper 1 for the grade 8s, okay? And this is basically the financial literacy for the end of year examination 2025. Okay, so what we can notice is that we have 4 questions, okay? And then we need to write neatly and legibly, answer all questions provided, and the paper has 2 sections. Use a blue pen, and the calculator can also be used. Okay, so section A, we have 1.1, which is MCQ, the match type, the word bank. Section B, we have the accounting equation, the cash receipts, and the CPJ. And then 4.1, the general ledger, and then 4.2, we have what we call the trial balance. All right, so let's start with the multiple choice. So various options are provided as answers to the following questions. Choose the correct answer and write only the letter A to D next to the question. So 1.1.1, okay. Which of the following cannot be classified as an asset? So we know that an asset is something that can be kept just to bring in money. Okay, something that brings in money is what we call an asset. So when you look at this donation, does that make sense? No. Yes, it brings in money, but you cannot rely on it over a period of time. Donation, yes, money is there, but it's more like a once-off thing. A trading stock, yes, can bring in money over a period of time. Land and building, yes. A bank, yes. So I'm going to take A out because it's not an asset. And then 1.1.2, a document that is received by the bank at the end of the month showing money going in and out of a business account, okay? We know that this is a bank statement. So bank statement becomes the best option there. And then 1.1.3, dash are all the possessions needed to run a business, okay? Are all the possessions to run a business. So income, no. Expenses, yes, makes sense, okay? Expenses are all the possessions needed to run a business. And then 1.1.4 are telling us that the left-hand side of a ledger account, what does it represent? So that represents what we call the debit, okay? So debit, and then the other side is going to be the credit. All right, then now 1.1.5, an exchange of goods and services, or an exchange of goods or services for money. What do we call that? Is it a profit? No. Is it a salary? Is it an income? It's basically a transaction. So D becomes the best answer for that. So we have A, B, B. Okay, so A, B, B, and then we have A, D. Okay, so that is question number 1.1. And then 1.2, we're matching the following. So match statement in column A with the corresponding answers in B. Write only the letter of the correct answer next to the question number, just as shown. Okay, 1.2.1. Accounts that are used to record transactions that do not occur frequently. Okay, what we call those accounts? So that falls under what we call the sundry accounts. Okay, so C will be the best option there. And then 1.2.2, where the income of the business is greater than the expenses. So that's what we call a profit, okay, which is option E. And then all money received or to be received by a business, what we call that? That is basically an income. So an income will be money that is received by a business or is going to be received. And then 1.2.4, a journal that records money that is paid out of a business bank account. So that is what we call a cash payment journal, okay, which is option B. And then money that is received from services that are rendered, that is what we call the current income. which is option A. All right, so that is 1.2. Then 1.3 with the World Bank, they gave us capital, land and buildings, cash deposit slip, assets, trial balance, double entry principle, and then we also have the liabilities, okay? So dash is an example of a non-current asset. So with non-current, it has to be buildings and land, okay? So land and buildings, so non-current. And then 1.3.2 money that is used to start a business is known as the capital. You need capital to start a business. And then the accounting equation, assets is equal to owner's equity plus, this must be liabilities, né? Liabilities. Then 1.3.4, source document that is used to deposit money into the bank. So this used to happen a long time ago. So it's what we call the cash deposit slip. So it's no longer happening nowadays because of technology. And then 1.3.5, money that is taken by the owner from the business bank account for personal use is gonna be known as, it's a trial balance. Okay, so that is how 1.3 was supposed to be answered. And then section B, they want us to analyze and show the effect of the following transactions in the table below. An example, service fees for 1.5, that is CRT 01, okay? Then transactions, they received, okay, they gave us an example that service fees 1.5, that's a cash register tape, which is 01. Okay, it's a bank, it's the current income, 1.5, that's an asset, then the owner's equity will still be 1.5. There are no liabilities in that. And then transactions that were done, number one, you received an EFT of 1.8 from a tenant. And what's the name of the tenant? JMart, for the rent of the storeroom. So how are we going to register that? So under the source document, we shall say that is an EFT. And then we're gonna account this account debited is going to be in the bank because it's an EFT into the bank. And then the account credited is the rent income. And how much is it? It's a positive 1.8. Owner's equity is still 1.8 and then 0 liabilities. And then next, there was a paid telephone by EFT of 350. So it's an EFT, it's a telephone, and then the account credited will be the bank. Okay, so under the assets, it's a minus 350. And then with the owner's equity, you're going to lose a 350. And then the liabilities will be not. All right, so that is how this table was supposed to be completed. And then question 3. T-Man Lula started business, TL Plumbing, on the 1st of July 2025. He does not know how to keep records of her receipts and payments and asked for your assistance to complete the cash journals of TL Plumbing for July 2025. Okay, so what did they do? For 3.1, okay, 3.1.1, there's a CRG with the column analysis of the receipts, the bank, the current income, as well as the sundry accounts. That's gonna be 9 marks. And then we have a CPJ journal with the columns, bank, materials, as well as the sundry accounts for 11 marks. Now we need to identify from the information or from the transactions what falls under the CPJ and then what goes under the CRJ. Okay, so the cash receipt and then the cash payment. Okay, so let's see. With the first transaction, T-Man started the business by depositing 100,000 to a business current account. And this is issued receipt number 10. So this is going to be under the CRJ, the cash receipt. And then P. Menyani, which is T-Man's friend, donated an amount of 800 to the business issued receipt number 11. So this is also a CRJ. And then number 4, paid auto pipes for plumbing pipes that are worth 900 and the EFT number is 20. So this is a CPJ, cash payment. And then bought a Bucky from Sting Buckies of 50,000 paid by EFT. So this is also a cash payment. And then received 480 from M-Ready after repairing the pipes. So this is a CRJ. And then transaction number 16, purchase stationery from PCM Stationers for the business and paid EFT of 600. So this is a CPJ. Okay, so let me just use the red for the RJs. Okay, we also have another RJ somewhere here. And then let's keep the blues for the CPJs. All right, so then let's go to the table and see. So with the cash payments, let's see. So document number 1, with the first document under the CPJ, the cash payments. No, is it CPJ or CRJ? This is the cash receipt, so which means we're talking of the CRJ. So receipt number 10. Okay, that is document number 10. On what day was that made? It was, it was on the 1st of July. Okay, so it's 1 July. And then what are the details? It was T-Man himself. And then analysis of receipts, that's not relevant. There was a bank payment of 100,000 rands. Okay, so is it a current income? No, it was the capital. So you're gonna record it under the sundry accounts. Okay, so the details will be, this is basically capital. Then next, under the CRJ, we have on the 3rd, T-Man's friend donated an amount. Okay, so on the 3rd, this is document number 11. Yes. So T-Man's friend, what's the name? P. Mayani. Okay, that's a P. Mayani, and it was 800 rands. So the analysis of receipts is going to be 800. And then under the bank, it's still under 800. Is it a current income? No, it's going to be under the sundry, which is 800. And then the details is a donation that was received. All right. And then the last CRJ that we saw was the 480 from Mr. Reddy. Okay, so this is gonna be Mr. Reddy. On which date? Was it the 16th? No, it was the 10th. Uh-oh. We're talking of the date. That's gonna be the 10th. And then the receipt number or the document detail. So for repairing the pipes. So let's just call it CRT. The cash received transaction. So how much was it? It was a 480. That's under the receipt analysis. It was going to the bank. No, it wasn't going to. Okay, after receiving it, they deposited it probably to the bank. Okay, and then is it a current income? Yes, it's current because they just received the cash payment. And then where do we locate this? It's under the current income. We don't need the details there. All right, so from that, we can see, okay, that we're going to have a total amount in the bank. And how much is it going to be? So here we're going to have 100 and 800,000. 100,000, 800. Under the current income, we just have the 480. And then the bank payments, we have 1.280. And then we have 100,000. So that's going to be 101280. Okay. Then let's go to the CPJs. So with the CPJ, the first is the fourth, receipt number 20. So document 20 on the fourth. What details do we have there? This is going to be paid auto pipes. So we're just gonna say it's basically auto pipes that were paid, and that's a 900. And then it was to buy the materials for 900 rands. All right, then next with the CPJ, we have the sixth, okay, the payment for the backing. So this is document number, okay, this 20, we can make this a 21. Okay, 21, and it happened on the 6th. So what is the name of the backy? Sting backies. Okay, we're going to say this is Sting backies, and they paid 50,000 from the bank. And then we have that amount from the Sundry account, 50,000. And then the details, that's going to be the vehicle. And then next, the date, we said it's a CPJ, which is the stationery. It was on the 16th. We can call that document 22 on the 16th. So we're going to say PCM stationers, because it is stationers that sell stationery. And how much was the stationery? They said 600 rands. So the 600 must come from the bank. Okay, and it was from the Sundry account. So the description is the stationery. Okay, let's get the totals. So with the 50, 600, it's gonna be 50. 600, we only have a 900 here. And then 50, 1,500 when we plus up everything there. All right, so we are done with our CPG as well as our CRG. All right, then we move on. We move on to the next question, which is question number 4, the general ledger. You are supplied with the following information from the books of timber traders, okay? Use the information to complete the book account in the general ledger of timber traders for 31st July 2025. So we know that the opening balance on the 1st of July is 1.2, okay? NB, the balance ledger, or NB balance the ledger account at the end of the month. So what we have, the total CRJ, okay, is 7.5, and then the total for the CPJ, for the payments, will be 4.8. All right. Okay, so how do we complete this? Number 1, on the 1st of July, there is balance that was brought forward, which is 1.2. So I'll have 1.2 there. That's the opening balance. And then, because we're looking at the date and then the credit on that side. And then as of the 31st of July, what was happening here? We're gonna have what we call the total receipts. Total receipts, and how much are we talking about? It's 7.5. That's the total of the receipts. And then when you plus these two, we get the 8.7. Alternatively, you can just subtract 8.7 minus 1.2, you get the 7.5. Then let's get to the side of the credit. So the total payments that we received was just 4.8. Okay. Total is 4.8. Not received, but basically the payments that we made is 4.8. And then the balance is 3.9, and then total is 8.7. So if that is the case, we know that after having this much of receipts and having this much of payments, we're gonna be left with a balance of 3.9. Okay, so we've balanced up and we have a 3.9. So that is that. Okay, let's move on to question 5, which is the trial balance. So complete the trial balance of Rita Clothing on the 31st of September 2025 using the information that is given below. So number 1, there is a trading license of 2.5. Then there's a bank of 12,750. Land and building is 75,000. Advertisements is 2.5. We have rent income 1.5. Capital is 89,000. The wages are 3.5. And then we have drawings of 7.5. The current income of 30. Water, electricity is 1.750. And then equipment is 15,000. So some of them have been indicated. Okay, so some are credits, some are debits. So now we need to decide. So number 1, the capital that's going to fall under folio 1, folio B1, is going to be a credit. Okay, because capital is always a positive balance. And we say that the capital amount is 89,000. So 89,000 must go there. And then we have the drawings, which is 7.5. Land and the buildings, which is 75,000. There's somewhere there, so that's a debit. Equipment is 15 as indicated. Okay, the bank is 12,750. And then the minor account section, the current income is that. Then what is this N2 for the 3.5? So 3.5 is, where is it? It's the wages. Okay, so we're going to say this is going to be the wages. And then the advertisement for N4. Advertisement, I remember seeing a 2.5. So advertisement is going to be a 2.5. Okay, but where are we going to put the 2.5? Yes, it's under the debit as well. And then what falls under N5 after advertisements? N5, we're going to have the rent income, which is 1.5, okay? So you're going to say this is rent income, and it's going to be 1.5. But is it debit or credit? No, it's going to be this side, 1.5, because the credit, because it's income that is coming from the rent. Okay, so someone is paying probably for renting some space from me. And then water, electricity, 1750. And then we have that. So when you plus what is on the left and what is on the right. So let me start with the right. So if I put a 30,000 there, I'm going to have 119,000. And then I need to plus the 1.5, which gives me 005,021. So 120,500, which is correct. And then on this side, when you plus up everything, we must still end up with the same amount. So what is on the left must be the same as what is on the right. So guys, that brings us to the end of this paper. I wish you guys all the best. Let's meet when we are discussing the paper 2. Bye-bye.